Welcome back to Rapid Tech in 10, where we give you tech-related takeaways in 10 minutes or less. I am your host, Bree Sharpella, and joining us today we have SoftwareOne Sales Enablement Specialists Krista McCloud and George Allen. Welcome to our chat today, team. I am super excited to have you join me in a quick combo today. Today, we're going to talk about the impact of learning and development, not only what it has on our people, but on the customers they support every day. At SoftwareOne, we often talk about what it means to become an IT legend. And for someone who doesn't know what this means, we're referring to someone who can lead with experience, expertise, and really guide the important technology decisions that help organizations build for long-term success. So, as always, before we get into some of the meat of the discussion, let's start with a quick icebreaker to get to know our team today. So, both of you, I would love your answer. Your work is really rooted in helping others learn and grow. What inspired you to get into this work? Is there a moment in your own career that made you really passionate about what you're doing? Love to hear it.
Yeah, I can go first. For me, it was my very first day in this industry, where I came into a new office and I wasn't set up for success or set up at all. There was some confusion about my start date, and I didn't have a workstation, let alone a structured onboarding program. Very quickly, I was doing data entry. I was taking data from one system and putting it into another system. It wasn't for some weeks that I learned what I was actually doing was processing returns that for unused pieces of IT hardware, specifically the warranties on those pieces of IT hardware that never went used. And within my first month, I started asking questions about how I could help ensure that no one had the same experience that I did. And 10 years later, I mean, now that's the focus of my career. When I think about how the impact it would have had to our customers and our partners if I had a little bit faster been given the tools that I needed to succeed, I would have been able to literally more quickly return that capital back to their bottom line. So it doesn't end with onboarding, right? It's about how do we continuously make sure that everyone has, whether it's the tools, whether it's the knowledge they need to be successful.
Yeah, being able to be a lifelong learner regardless of your environment. That's great.
Yeah.
George, what about you?
I think my story is aligned, but maybe a little less professional and more personal. I definitely am a personal development junkie, and I think as I was going through my own journey of figuring out how to give myself tools to make progress against my growth, I heard this quote one time where awareness will avail you nothing. And as I started reflecting on my career and everybody I worked with, I started asking myself, like, how can I help people move beyond awareness of maybe what they're struggling with into actual action progress against it. So yeah, that's how I ultimately ended up in an enablement. And when you do what you love, they say you never work a day.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. We're so grateful to have you here, and we're seeing all of the fruits of your labor come through. So, getting into our questions right away in the essence of time, internally, we talk a lot about structured learning, enablement, continuous development, and really helping people build the experience and expertise needed to guide customers through these complex decisions. I keep saying in my head like that, this is how legends are made. So with that, like, I'm curious, like, what does it take to turn technical experience into trusted guidance? Like, how do we create IT legends through our guides? What does this mean for our customers?
Yeah. So first off, I think across the industry, right, there is so much technical expertise that is not unique to us. I think what sets us apart is our focus on impact to our customers and to our partners' customers. You hear a lot that people don't buy a product, they buy a solution to a problem. I feel like today that's partially true, but what I think is more prevalent today is they want technology that brings their goals within reach. So it's not just that we enable our folks to position a product and to be the expert in that product. We train them to ask better questions to understand the tangible business goals that our customers and our partners' customers are trying to reach. I'll give an example. We worked with a customer that came to us because they were a little bit worried that when it came time to the end of the year, they weren't going to hit the consumption for their Azure that they needed to hit. And through actually, building that rapport with the customer, and we learned that really their big concern was that they were a transit system. And if they got a surprise bill at the end of the year, they might need to eliminate certain routes or make them less frequent. And especially, during the busy holiday season, that would have a real impact to customers of the transit system. When we learned that their goal was to, avoid a surprise bill and have that uptime during a really critical portion of the year, we were able to kind of widen the scope of what we were looking at. And we found that they weren't under their consumption. They were actually going to exceed it by 3 times. So we were able to work with them to implement solutions, things like turning off unused virtual machines when they weren't being used, et cetera, to make sure they knew exactly where that bill was going to be when it came in, and they were able to maintain that uptime during that really critical point of the year where a lot of people are using public transit to, go see their loved ones for the holidays.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good one. I'm going to ask George you a separate question. When someone joins SoftwareOne, what experiences help them grow into the kind of expert customers trust with important technology decisions? Curious your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think 2 things, right? Like when joining SoftwareOne, we take pride in our new hire onboarding experience that we have today, right? So I think starting people out with a solid foundation, rooted in our values, rooted in our value prop, and rooted in everything that we do to make sure that they're set up for success in the first 30 days is super important. But on the flip side, like I'll say from a SoftwareOne perspective, like, your team is kind of your family. And I'll admit that, joining the company 3 years ago, I wouldn't be half as far in my career if it wasn't for my team and the care that they took in helping me over the next 60, 90, 120 days. So I think it's a little bit of the structure that we bring, especially in the early days, but then the culture that we have here at SoftwareOne that continues that kind of experience throughout the new hires at least 120 days.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to put it. And final question to kind of close us off, how do we make sure our people stay ahead so customers don't have to with the ever evolving technology changes? We know it's moving very fast. Would love both of your thoughts on that piece.
Yeah, I mean, I can almost call back to Krista's answer to question 1, which I think is super pertinent to the answer here. Look, at the end of the day, good guides tell stories, and all that technical expertise kind of means nothing unless it's rooted in context of problems that it's solving and outcomes that it's driving. So I think the best thing that we do at SoftwareOne in terms of keeping up with the pace of technology is understanding our customers' set of circumstances and desired outcome better, best than probably even themselves, right? And then that way, whatever technology inevitably does pull the rug out from underneath us, at least we're very, very crystal clear on the set of circumstances that we have to navigate to apply that change against. That's how you stay ahead of the curve, in my opinion. I don't know, Krista, you.
Absolutely. It really, I was going to echo the same point. We ask our AMs not to be the subject matter experts across the entire IT landscape that's always changing, but to be the subject matter experts of their customers and their partners, and then be able to bring them what is cutting edge, what is late breaking in the circumstances that are relevant to them and their world.
Well said. Well, thank you for spending some time with us today and giving our audience a behind the scenes look at what it takes as we create IT Legends. If you'd like to explore more, check out the IT Legends page. I will link it in the comments. You'll find expert insights there, resources, and also a free calculator. Yes, the free word does apply here to help uncover opportunities for meaningful impact across your organization. From your friends in tech at SoftwareOne, I appreciate you watching.